My name is Big Time. Today we're going to talk about Linda Frickey. Black people commit more crime in America, and they're treated with kid gloves. And they're being used to usher in a state of anarcho-tyranny in America. I'm working on a project of covering all of the mass shootings this year. My source is thegunviolencearchive.org, which keeps track of all the mass shootings and a lot of defensive gun uses as well. And I typically cover defensive gun use, and I'll cover one today. But right now, we're going to talk about Linda Frickey. So let's catch everyone up. Yeah, I'm sure some bullshit ad will come up.
Work. Hey guys, so I want to warn you, the video you're about to see, it is disturbing. The victim's family says
because it doesn't show the right people committing crime. If it was a Trump supporter or if it was a white conservative, then that would just be expected.
So they want you to see this video to understand what happened.
It was like a predatory thing.
You're watching video.
No, it wasn't like it was.
From Monday afternoon around 1:30 p.m. on the 300 block of North Scott.
Now, I want to point something out. Did you see that? Watch this girl signal the main aggressor. He's walking to the car. Linda Frickey's sitting in her car. She's deceased. They killed her. As he's walking to the car, this girl signals him.
You're watching video from Monday
See the head? See his head turn? And then a car comes by.
afternoon around 1:30 p.m. on the 300.
That's a sign of teamwork and intelligence. Okay? Do you need to see it again? So they're not smart enough to do homework. They're not smart enough to take culturally biased, standardized tests. If they put their name on a resume, they might not get the resume back, even though every job in every college in this country has affirmative action and diversity quotas. So I think that's bullshit too. Now, with the way everything is, you're going to be the first person hired. I mean, if Kamala Harris is not a diversity hire, I don't know what the fuck else to tell you. One more time, watch. Watch this girl tell him, and they back off when a car comes by.
You're watching video from Monday afternoon.
Did you see it?
Around 1:30 p.m. on the 300 block of North Scott. Linda Frickey is leaving work. Richard Hodges is her boss. His surveillance cameras are rolling.
It was when the male started to pull her out of the car at that point.
Black male. Since you're a faggot too.
He struggled with her. It looked like trying to pull her out, and he maced her. Two of the females had jumped in the other side of the vehicle, and then they jumped out. Like all of a sudden, it's like popped out, and it seemed like maybe they were like, "Okay, this ain't gonna work. We're gonna leave." And then he proceeded on the side of the vehicle. He basically was assaulting her, trying to get her out of the car. Once he had her on the ground, he got in. He took off.
Hodges says two co-workers came out and tried to save her, but it was too late.
They found her in the street there, and they stayed with her, until she passed away within a few minutes after that. It was just a horrific thing.
NOPD Superintendent Sean Ferguson.
So let me explain. Got to be careful. This murderer, Mace, is a 70-year-old white woman. She's attached to her seatbelt. After he maces her, he tries to drag her out of the car. She's stuck on the seatbelt. She's old. It's hard for her to stand up. Basically, she doesn't get out of the car fast enough. As he's beating her, he then gets in the car, as his other three murderous friends. a millstone for each of them. They drive off. She's still attached to the car. Her arm gets dislocated from her body and she dies. There. You caught up yet?
Said the parents of the 15-year-old female turned her in Monday night. A tip from another parent led police to the 7.
I also want to say that while this was happening, do you think these other three people said anything? Do you think they said, stop? Hey, what are you doing? Let's get an... No. I wonder what they said. I don't know. But I would imagine they were laughing. They probably thought it was hilarious. I bet they filmed it. Because your kids be dumb that way.
17-year-old male and 16-year-old female. The 15-year-old female turned herself in Tuesday morning. Police say some of the suspects have criminal records, but would not give details. Ferguson did say he...
So already protecting them. Already the fucking kid gloves start. You're on camera murdering someone, okay? This isn't alleged anymore. This is like the Rittenhouse shooting. We see Rittenhouse get attacked by a mob of people. And then everyone's just fucking upset because you wasted two of them and blew off Gage Grosskreuz's bicep. Fuck them. You're not allowed to fight back.
He wants the teens charged as adults.
Brazenness, broad daylight, with no regards to this woman hanging from the vehicle. So, I mean, I think at some point in time, we have to step up and say we're going to hold individuals accountable.
Linda's family described...
Oh, those are words. I don't know what that means. Yeah, so here's the person they killed. So you maced, and this is something I don't understand about black criminals, like George Floyd, like Walter Wallace in Philadelphia. It takes 4 of you to mace and beat up and attack and kill a 70-year-old woman. I wish she was carrying, and I wish she would have killed one of you motherfuckers. I wish. Maybe like a 380 or a 32. It's a shame. She was sitting in her car in front of her office. And because she wasn't racist, she's dead.
Described the teens as evil and cowards.
She was the kindest, the best person. It's a hole in all of our
70 years old, still working. I guess she didn't get her white privilege in the mail, right?
lives that we'll never get back. She just will be deeply. That's all I could really say.
Hodges says Linda worked for him for 20 years. She was a great employee. Linda cherished her family and granddaughter. He recalls asking her if she ever wanted to retire. He says she loved her job and said she wasn't going anywhere.
I have virtually no confidence in the system right now. Does anybody? You know, I would love to see them be prosecuted as adults, send a message, not only to somebody who would be thinking about doing that, but this, you know, what is the purpose in it? What purpose was this?
Did any of these three, when they saw what he was doing to a 70-year-old woman, do you think any of them told him to stop? Hey, man, that's too far. You don't got to do all that. You know? They could have even just taken the keys and come back later and got the car, right? Right? They could have taken her keys. What was she going to do? And they could have come back and got the car the next day when she wasn't in it. They clearly have nothing else to do.
It's a senseless murder.
It's always a senseless murder. It's always over nothing. It's because someone stepped on your shoes. It's because there was a disagreement. They picked on her because she was an old white woman. That's it. And she's dead because she wasn't racist. Next video. So guess what? Black people be so oppressed. Now one of them can't stand trial. Smart enough to carjack. Smart enough to work as a team. Probably not the first one they've done, but now suddenly we can't take accountability, right?
All right, a big development. A teen charged in the carjacking and death of 73-year-old Linda Frickey is found unfit for trial in 2 weeks. WDSU
Why? Why? You're on video doing nothing. You can be in prison doing nothing. You're clearly not doing anything else.
reporter Anam
Society would be better without you.
Siddiqui sat in during today's hearing and explains the reasoning behind the decision.
15-year-old Lanira Theophile went under a mental evaluation, and as of right now, doctors say she is not ready to stand trial. The teen is charged with second-degree murder for the carjacking and death of 73-year-old Linda Frickey. Frickey was carjacked in Mid-City and dragged to her death last year. After a mental evaluation, doctors say Theophile is not fit to go to trial because of her lack of understanding of legal proceedings and how to properly assist her attorney. In court Monday, Judge Kimya Holmes says the teen is incompetent to proceed and wants her automatically transferred to a behavioral hospital for 60 days. Doctors recommend against transferring Theophile, but there is no restoration option at the juvenile center she is currently being held. As for the 3 other teens arrested in this case, they are expected to stand trial.
What do you think about that? I want some pro blackety black to come up here and explain this to me. So 4-year-olds know that they're the opposite gender. 12-year-olds know that they want their genitals cut off. These 4 monsters. Here they are, black community. Here's your black excellence. These 4 monsters killed this woman. You know, at this point, I'm not really against vigilantism, you know? Why should that girl get to live? You had no problem taking a life, so why shouldn't we treat you the same? Again, always protecting the blacks, the poor blacks. You're on camera as an accomplice, meaning you didn't do anything. You didn't do nothing, right? Oh, I was just sitting there and I didn't know it was going to go. You think she lied? Could we listen to the interview? Do you think those doctors that interviewed this girl were just like, oh, she's just a poor black girl and racism and redlining and slavery? Yeah, totally normal to kill your oppressors, right? Juvie.
Trial in 2 weeks. After 60 days in a behavioral center, Theophile is set for another competency hearing in May. Outside of New Orleans Criminal Court, Siddiqui.
Another one.
Leonardo da Vinci.
This is the one that pissed me off the most.
For joining us, I'm Whitney Miller. Tomorrow, jury selection will begin in the Linda Frickey case. 3 of the 4 suspects will go on trial. Frickey was killed in a brutal carjacking last year. Eleanor Tabone spoke with Frickey's sister as the family prepares for the trial.
Linda did not.
That's what's left of her. Let's do a comparison with the video here.
I deserve to die like that. No one does.
Linda Frickey was carjacked in Mid-City in March of last year. The 73-year-old was dragged by her own car. She died after her arm got caught in a seatbelt and was severed as the car pulled off. Her sister, Ginny Lynn Griffin, is visiting her sister's gravesite before trial begins.
Every time we come to the gravesite, it is very emotional. I was really close with my sister Linda, and you know, it's really hard thinking that I wasn't there to help her.
The 4 teens accused, John Honore, Brenia Baker, Marquel Curtis, and Lanira Theophile.
So let's do a comparison. Why are we only allowed to see their faces on the video? So without the video, we wouldn't even, I don't even think we'd have their names. I think if we didn't have the video, they would be protected because they're black and they're kids. And one of them has already been found incompetent. What do you think about a society that jumps through hoops that are on fucking fire to defend monsters, black monsters. But they have no problem showing you this, a grave. What do you think about that? Got no problem showing you the grave of the dead person. This fucking cameraman stood over this woman's grave. They're on camera, but we still got to protect them. And one of them's going to go to juvie and will be out in 2 years. Or they'll get home release with ankle monitor, which they won't enforce. What do you think about that? Somebody come in my comments and tell me that's okay, that they need to be protected. Somebody justify this horrible murder, this carjacking which led to murder.
On Honore, Brenia Baker, Marquel Curtis, and Lenira Theophile are all being charged as adults. Theophile's trial is being delayed for 2 months after being found incompetent.
For us, we feel that definitely the two in the front seat should have lifetime in jail.
Standing by her sister's resting place, Ginny Lynn says she's full of emotions.
Some anxiety, some nervousness, every emotion but happiness, because it's just sorrow that my sister's gone, and to think about the way she went and to have to sit through the trials, listening and seeing all the different descriptions of how she went, is knowing that that's going to be heart-wrenching.
She says she will be in court every day till everything is over, because all she wants is justice.
With the trials starting, we're going to go. We're going to go there. We're going to make sure she gets justice.
Eleanor Tabone, Eyewitness News.
So
Hey,
yeah,
we've been at $5 a gallon in Chicago, man. Get over it. No, I was just playing.
I'm not sure what to say. I don't really think I have anything to say. You know, I'm tired of all the fucking excuses, aren't you? Oh, they can't focus. Oh, they can't do math. Oh, they can't take tests. Oh, we got to do team. They got to work in a group. Well, they do work in groups. And they murder you. And now apparently one of them's retarded. Just explain that aspect to me. So she has no problem standing there watching a woman get beaten and killed. But now suddenly she's just too dumb to be punished for it, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what to say. If this was all that was left of a family member of mine, I don't know. I would certainly understand. I would, if this was all that was left of my wife or my kids, I don't know. I don't know what someone would do, but I would understand. Let me put it that way. If I was on trial and this woman, the sister, if she just said, no, not good enough, I wouldn't find her guilty. I would say that she was probably incompetent and just didn't understand. I wish I had more to say, but I don't. So anyway, I'm big time.